Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about something that every singer has to deal with at some point. Singing while you're sick. It's definitely not fun, and it happens to all of us. I am currently sick myself right now, so I thought this would be a great opportunity to share with you some of the things that I do to manage how I use my voice. And as you may or may not know, I use my voice every day. So there are ways to manage it safely. I thought I would break it down so you can learn how to protect your voice while still getting the job done. First things first, singing is affected by so many factors, even when you're healthy. You have to ask yourself, are you getting enough sleep? Are you feeling stressed or anxious? Are you hydrating? You should be drinking lots of water daily. These things impact your voice on a daily basis, and when you add being sick into the mix, it becomes even more important to pay attention to what your body is telling you. So many aspects of being a singer are affected when you are sick, and when we look at these issues, we can face them one at a time, and we can sort of get through and provide some remedies to make the singing process easier, especially if you have to sing. You have a gig, you have a performance coming up, and you're sick, you've got to do it. So how are you going to do this? If you're coughing a lot, your vocal cords are taking an extra hit. Coughing slams your vocal cords together, and then they have to resist the breath pressure coming from the lungs, which is, expelling phlegm and the actual sickness that you have. Excuse me. And it's causing those vocal cords to come together forcefully, which can lead to swelling and irritation. And what happens is the vocal cords, as they sit right here at the larynx, they sit this way on top of the larynx, and they come together like this. So when you breathe, they open, right? And when you speak or sing, they come together and they vibrate. Now, when they come together, there's a muscle memory attached to that, meaning the vocal cords close. And when you're sick and you've been coughing and you're irritating the vocal folds, they're going to start to swell or hold water. We call this edema. And what happens is muscle memory suggests that the vocal cords come together here, but when they're swollen, they're going to come together here, right? Because they're swollen, they're going to come together sooner, but muscle memory suggests here, so they're going to be over-compressed. This can lead to additional challenges, which will further impede your ability to sing comfortably and without strain. So this is something that we have to deal with and we have to be aware of. Additionally, you might feel congested. The nasal passages become congested, which impedes your airflow and resonance. These factors work together and can lead to strain and long-term damage. A simple test to check for vocal cord swelling is to do what's called a vocal fry. And a vocal fry is when you do a very low frequency, a low vibration, and you do it on, say, an ah vowel, and it's just if you can make that noise with your vocal folds, then your vocal folds are in pretty decent shape. If you go to do a vocal fry and it sounds like that means the vocal cords are swollen and it's time for you to do something different. So what can you do to assist yourself in keeping your voice as optimum as it can be under these conditions? I have a simple head cold, so I've got congestion and it's affecting my throat in the way that it gets a little more dry than it usually does. And in the winter months, when the furnace is pumping out all the dry heat, as I have in my home, that dry air, contributes to the effects that I feel with the cold. So one of the things that I use, this is not only my go-to tool when I'm not sick, I use this even more when I am. This is called the vocal mist. It's a vocal mist apparatus. You can see inside the little diaphragm there. What happens is you pour a 0.9% sodium chloride liquid into the top of the unit. You put the lid on, then you push the start button, and a cool mist now comes out of this apparatus, which you can place in your mouth and inhale. The mist particles are so fine that they go through the vocal cords themselves, not really getting into the lungs. This is just a great way to hydrate the vocal folds, and probably the best way to do that. Cool mist is preferred, and that's exactly what this is. You can also inhale this through the nasal passages, which when you're sick get dried out extra. You're blowing your nose, and it's just constantly getting dried out. And again, the effects of the dryness are amplified when you're sick, so this is a tremendously great tool. I will place a link below so you can make an informed decision on acquiring one of these for yourself. Another tool that I use periodically when I'm not sick, and then more often when I am, is a nasal rinse. These become your best friend, especially when you're congested. Anyone living in a major city where pollution impacts the atmosphere, you can do a nasal rinse daily and up to 2 or 3 times per day when you're suffering from heavy congestion due to a cold or flu. There are 3 types of rinses that I've personally tried. I've got a couple here that I'm going to use for show and tell. I won't demonstrate, as that would be gross. One of the nasal rinse tools is called a neti pot, and it looks much like a magic lamp. It's got a long spout on it, a handle on one end. You fill it with warm water, and you add these pouches. That's a sodium chloride, sodium bicarbonate combination powder that you mix with the warm water and stir it up. And then you would place the long end of the neti pot into one nostril, tip your head over the sink, open your mouth, and drain this liquid through your nasal passage. It is a little bit, it can be a little bit disturbing while you do it. I always recommend, if one nostril is more plugged than the other, that you insert the tube into the less plugged nostril and run the solution through that. The other one that I use is this little device here. It is a sinus rinse, just a little plastic bottle with a nice rounded tip on it. You take the cap off, you put the packet of solution in, add the warm water, place this in a nostril and squeeze. It will gently force the water through the nasal passage and into the sink. This works very, very effectively. I really like this one. This one's compact. I take it everywhere I go, and you can do that 2 or 3 times daily. I just don't recommend doing it before bed. Too close to bedtime when you're going to be laying horizontal, you can have challenges. The water can get into your ear canal, and it's quite kind of uncomfortable. So you must be very gentle when you're ridding yourself of the congestion in your nasal cavity. The last one I want to show you, this is quite a device. Look at this thing. It's quite a contraption. So this one has the 2 tips. These tips come off, and they have little arrows. This one is flowing this way, and this side is flowing the other way. So what you can do with this, again, if one side is more plugged than the other, this one, the little top comes off. You put a little capsule in the top. You close the lid, and it opens the capsule into the warm water above here. And then you place this in your nostrils, directing the flow. One is going to go out and one is going to come in, and it flushes your nasal cavity, and all the bad stuff goes into the bottom. And it's just battery operated. It will not come on unless there's a packet in here and water is in it. And you just gently hold it here and push the button. You don't really feel a thing. It doesn't hurt. You just feel the relief afterwards. Once you're finished, you gently blow some of the congestion out, and again, not too forcefully, so you don't pop anything. But that works tremendously well. I love these tools. I was told by a vocal surgeon, if you live in metropolises where there's more pollution, this is something that you can do on a daily basis, let alone being sick. So just a great way, because half the battle for me as a singer, if I'm congested, it really affects my voice. You might feel a little extra resonance and whatnot, but it really does affect my voice, and I don't like it, so I use that rinse, and that really helps. The rinse combined with the vocal mist, just a winning combination. I can't recommend it enough. If you have to sing, if you must sing while you are sick, I recommend that you warm up slowly and gently. Don't force your voice to do something it's resisting. If you have to perform, you're going to have to adapt your performance. This could mean changing the melody, lightening up your vocal delivery, and avoiding pushing or forcing. If you have to, if you have to cough, I recommend taking a breath and then using the breath to clear the throat rather than forcing your vocal cords to come against a heavy breath pressure. It's just going to exacerbate the problem, and we don't want to do that. We want to do everything in our power to mitigate any kind of extra irritation in the voice. We want to avoid pushing and or forcing. If you have to make adjustments for a performance, which means you're not going to go for maybe the big high notes or the big belty notes, and you're going to let it crack every now and then, 1 or 2 nights of caution is better than losing your voice completely and being forced into a vocal shutdown. Of course, the best thing you can do is rest. Take a night off, sleep. Don't speak more than absolutely necessary. So what shouldn't you do when you are ill and you have to sing or you want to use your voice? You can cut back on or stop ingesting caffeine and alcohol. These beverages, although enjoyable, will speed up and stimulate the respiratory system, and when you're sick, add further to any anxiety you may already have. They also dry out your mouth, and when the mouth gets dried, this is when you can start to have additional challenges with your vocal cords. Listen to your body. If your voice feels off, don't push it. Warm up and cool down gently. If you need relief and you have to sing, you can take ibuprofen. This can help with the swelling of the vocal cords, but don't rely on it too much. If you're congested, use a nasal rinse, but wait on using decongestant medication until after you're done singing, because they dry everything out. For example, if I had to do a gig, I would use my vocal mister, I would use a nasal rinse, and then I would do a nice gentle warm-up, and I would do my performance based on what my voice is allowing me to do, and then I would do a nice cool down afterwards, and then I might take a decongestant to give me some relief so I can sleep. I recommend using these medications when you're not using your voice to avoid the extra dry out. At the end of the day, singing is a mental and physical game. Knowing how your voice works and how to care for it will make all the difference when you're under the weather. If this video has helped you, give it a like and subscribe for more vocal tips. Take care of your voice, and I'll see you next time. Sing for yourself.